welcome to the 3 Inning Fan Show with me, Kelley Franco. I am so excited about my guest here today because I have with me Rick Cerone, 18-year MLB veteran, catcher for the Yankees on those insane teams in the early 80s, catcher for the Mets in 1991. Rick, thank you so much for joining me today.
Kelley, I wish I had your excitement. You sound great. You look great. And yeah, it's always great to reflect on the past. I like that, but I do live in today, and I'm looking forward to having fun.
Well, me too. And I know you have so many stories. You played Yankee baseball in one of the most compelling chapters in the team's history. You took over as catcher in 1980 after we had all just lost Thurman Munson the year before. You had run-ins with Steinbrenner and Martin. You played in the 1981 World Series. But before all that, Rick, you were a Jersey kid who went to Seton Hall and played for Coach Mike Shepard. Tell me about that.
Well, I mean, it's a weird story how it happened. I was all set to go play college football and baseball, and at the last minute, they didn't want me to play baseball in college. So I just happened to play American Legion baseball that summer after my senior year. Just to give you a little background, I grew up in Newark, New Jersey. I went to Essex Catholic High School. From that, my senior football team, we had 12 Division I football players.
Wow.
We went undefeated. We had really a great team. I had, at the time, could have gone to anywhere to play football as a quarterback. And, I had 60 football scholarships and 0 for baseball.
Unreal.
And at the last minute, they pulled the only reason I wanted to go to college to play both sports. And then all of a sudden I played Legion ball for Mike Shepard, who was going to be the first year coach at Seton Hall University, which was 25 minutes from my house. And he offered me a baseball scholarship to stay home. And I said, yeah, why not? My football coach was great, Bob Taglieri. He was like my second father. He really, more than just a coach, he was like a father figure. And we were friends for life until he passed away a couple of years ago. And he just said, listen, don't ever regret your decision. I'll handle the coach, your college. Don't worry about that. Just don't ever be the person to look back and say, I wish I should have done this or I should have done that. Just be committed to what you do on this decision you make. Best decision I ever made. At Seton Hall, it was Shepard's first year. We had a great team. We actually went to the College World Series 2 out of the 3 years I was at Seton Hall. And the memories and the friends I made last a lifetime.
What was it like to play for Mike Shepard?
Oh, he was tough. I mean, there was no doubt about it. He was an ex-Marine. He got away with stuff. And me and him, I guess it's my nature being an Italian kid from Newark. I had tough with authority figures.
Uh-huh.
And that included Steinbrenner and Billy Martin. But me and Coach Shepard, you know what? After I got out of there, I appreciated how he made me tougher. I'll tell you a quick story. My first game playing for them, we flew down to Florida. First time I was ever on a plane. And we played a bunch of teams in the Fort Lauderdale, Miami area. And my first game, I must have mouthed off. And I don't know. I answered him back. And you know what he did? He jerked me out of the game and let me run foul poles. Foul poles, you go in the outfield while the game is on and run from foul pole to foul pole. And I'm saying, I'm so mad. I was so mad at him. But again, it was my big mouth that got me in trouble. And that was my first game at Seton Hall University in the spring season. I got better from then. I had problem because I wasn't catching my first year. I was playing right field. But we had a senior catcher who was a very good player, actually got drafted by the Giants. Never made it, but I played right field. We had a very good team. We won our conference. We lost in the regionals. And it just made me stronger. And then from there, Shep was tough, but he was good. And it was more than just a coach. And that's what they are. They don't realize when you coach kids, they're very vulnerable. They're you can mold them for the rest of their lives. And Seton Hall was the best thing that ever happened to me.
It sounds like you had, well, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I was going to say a little bit of a love-hate relationship with Mike Shepard.
Yeah, of course. And I think a lot of our players did. I mean, he got away with some stuff that, I mean, you couldn't believe. He kicked a kid one time, and the kid's shin started bleeding. And my buddy Rico, who was our captain and shortstop, said, "Are you crazy? You could go to jail for that." But the kid wasn't cheering enough. He wasn't backing up the guys that were playing. But you know what? At the end of the day, we understood where it came from. He wanted to make everybody better. I tell you what, playing in the College World Series is an experience I will never forget. And our sophomore year, we lost two in a row. My junior year, we were very competitive. I'll never forget the game. We're playing against Florida State. They're number one in the country, 54-8, and we beat them 11-0.
Wow.
And then we lost to the Texas and South Carolina. They wound up going to the finals with Texas winning the national championship. But the Texas game was an interesting story. They scored 10 runs in the first inning before we got off the field. We were losing 10-0. The final score of the game was 12-10.
Whoa.
So we kept coming back and coming back. It was amazing. I was so proud of my teammates that day for not quitting. And you know what? I was the big player. I was the number one player picked in the College World Series that year for Cleveland. And boy, oh boy, I couldn't have been prouder. Their coach, who's a Hall of Fame coach, Cliff Gustafson, came over to our dugout after we lost. And he said, "Guys, do not hang your heads. That was the greatest comeback." He says, "We're so lucky that we won." And that next day, they went into the finals. So, I mean, we were that close. And I was just very proud. And you know what? Something about playing in front of 100 fans compared to 50,000 fans is a huge difference. You know everybody in the stands. They're all parents. They're all friends. And that was such a great experience. And I'm so glad I made that decision.
And then you were drafted by Cleveland.
Yeah, let's Kelley, let's forget about the whole Cleveland experience because it was not one of the best times. Frank Robinson was very difficult. A month after I signed with them, I was in the big leagues in August of 1975, the same year I was drafted. My claim to fame was I was the first player from the 1975 draft to make it to the big leagues and the last one to stay in the big leagues. I take a lot of pride in that. I was in the big leagues every year from 1975 to 1992. But Cleveland's experience was absolutely horrible. They brought me up as a 21-year-old superstar, they said, and not played me. I had to sit on the bench for 60 straight days, which was, for a kid that's always played and always had success, that was probably the toughest thing I ever had to deal with. And they did that to me 2 years in a row.
That's brutal. Why not put you somewhere where you can play?
Well, I played in AAA. They made it. After that first year, they said, "Go down to AAA. And it's when you come up, we'll never do what we did." Unfortunately, Frank Robinson doesn't tell the truth. I went down to AAA. I became the AAA All-Star catcher, ready to play in the All-Star game, which is a big thing in AAA. But they bring me up the day before the All-Star break. They bring me up to the big leagues, and they don't play me.
Wow.
And I don't play the next day. So I walked into Frank Robinson's office and I said, what the hell's going on here? He said, he says, "Listen," he says, "be lucky that you're in the big leagues. Just do what they tell you. I don't know when you're going to play." And I played like 5 days in the next 60 days.
Wow.
And it was a real struggle. It could have killed a lot of careers, but I'm very fortunate that I was able to be traded to the Blue Jays. And I played their first game in the snow.
You caught the first pitch in Blue Jays history.
Yeah, I caught the first pitch and I made the first error. Ralph Guard walked. He stole second in the snow. But let me tell you, it was snowing. And I threw a bullet. But unfortunately, it was a bullet right to the center fielder. So he went to third base. I got the first error in Blue Jay history. We did win the game. It did snow. It did snow early. The sun came out. We wound up beating Chicago. and the little catcher from Newark went 2 for 4, and we won the game. That's what it's all about.
That is a
And Kelley, I tell you, it was a great experience playing for the Blue Jays. We were all young kids. They gave us an opportunity to make mistakes, learn the game the right way. But it was very difficult. 3 years, losing 100 games. That's a hard thing to do. You come to the ballpark, you know you're developing, you know people are watching. And the one thing people don't realize about Toronto, I'm Italian. I was born in America, but my grandparents and everybody were born in Italy.
Yeah, me too.
Basically from the same town in Italy. So we're all kind of related a little bit. But they have 500,000 Italians living in Toronto.
I love it.
It's the largest Italian population outside of Italy.
I didn't know that.
No, and nobody knows that. And the other thing nobody knew, in 1977, the Toronto is like a city of 3 million people. And they had a total of 3 homicides in Toronto for the year.
Wow.
Me coming from Newark, New Jersey, I used to say that was a good week in Newark. Everybody would laugh. But what a beautiful cosmopolitan town. I love it. Maybe one mistake I made in my career, I turned down their broadcasting job. They wanted me to go from the Yankees to the Blue Jays, and I liked being at home and broadcasting at home. So I stayed there. Maybe I should have gone up there. I might be still broadcasting, which is a tremendous gig. I love what you do. I understood all along when I played the role of the media and how important they were. Not hide when you had a bad game. Make sure you were there. Stand up. Be a stand-up guy. Talk to the press. Yeah, I messed up. Hopefully I'll learn from this. I won't do it again. But everybody screws up. Everybody makes mistakes. Nobody I met is ever perfect.
November 1, 1979, you became a Yankee.
Yep. You want to hear that story?
How did it feel becoming a Yankee?
How did it feel?
Yeah, tell me the story.
Well, it was tremendous. I mean, that's my team I grew up loving. I idolized Joe DiMaggio, Mickey Mantle, Joe Pepitone in the schoolyards playing. But that day was interesting because I was out playing golf. I had a house in Clearwater, Florida, and I was out playing golf all day, so they couldn't get a hold of me when the trade is made. And back then you had no cell phones. You had the answering machine with the beeper, beep. So after I round the golf, I guess I got home around 5:15, and Jim Clancy and Bob Baylor, who lived around the corner from me, my teammates in the Blue Jays, are outside my garage door with a case of beer. I said, "What the hell are you guys doing?" He says, "Oh, you don't know. They've been trying to call you all day." I said, "Well, I was on the golf course." "Oh, you got traded." I said, "Come on, well, tell me where I got traded." "No, I don't know if we should tell you." I said, "Come on, guys. They were my 2 best buddies. Bobby Baylor, we roomed together for 3 years with the Blue Jays. What a great little player he was. Center fielder, infielder, good hard-nosed guy. They said, "You got traded to the Yankees." And my jaw dropped. I said, "The Yankees? I'm going home to play for my home team?" So then as soon as I went inside, the beeper has got like 27 messages from all over. And, they tried to make a big thing that I was replacing Thurman Munson. And nobody could replace Thurman. I looked at it differently. Thurman died August 3rd or
August 2nd.
August
In fact,
2nd.
We're recording here August 5th. We're almost exactly 47 years. Can you believe it?
Well, no, I can't. Come on, don't tell anybody that. It was like 27 years ago, right? I mean, we're much younger. I know I'm much younger than I feel. And the biggest thing is I felt like if the 2 catchers that were there for the Yankees then had played really well in August and September, well, then they wouldn't have need to trade for a catcher. And so I looked at it as I was replacing them. They needed
Jerry Narron was one.
Jerry Narron and Brad Golden, I think, were the 2 catchers at the time. Mm-hmm. And I said, if they would have done really good, they wouldn't have need to trade for a catcher. So I went and I tried to play that, but the media wouldn't let you. You're replacing Thurman, you're stepping in there. But I had a tremendous coach that year. My manager was Dick Hauser. I had a great coaching staff, all veteran people. I had a great team. All my teammates were all veterans that had won 2 World Series. So they accepted me right away in spring training. That year, 1980 was special. I wound up finished 6th in the MVP voting. But people don't realize I struggled up until my birthday, May 19th of 1980. I was hitting under 200, but I caught every game. I caught every game until June 16th of that year. Every game. And Dick
That's
Hauser kept saying,
unbelievable.
yeah, Dick Hauser said, just keep playing, catching. You're calling great. You're throwing runners out. You're a leader. You're doing everything we're asking. You're hitting them come around. And from May 19th to the end of the season, I hit over 300 and drove in a bunch of runs and hit some home runs. But more importantly, got to play for the Yankees, driving across that George Washington Bridge that first time. You know, you go through all the spring training and it's great. You're a Yankee, but you're not a Yankee until I was living in Fort Lee, New Jersey, until you take that George Washington Bridge and then you see that big, beautiful ballpark in the Bronx, and realizing that day I'm going to be the opening catcher, starting catcher for the Yankees opening day. I mean, it was special. And my teammates were so great. I loved them all.
What kind of emotions were you feeling that first day when you were going into Yankee Stadium?
I was so proud. I was so happy for my parents. I had already played a little over 4 years in the big leagues. And you know what? There's the big leagues, and then there's the New York Yankees. I really mean that. And it was a special feeling. It doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but it was. And the memories left a lifetime. And I actually see it differently now because I had 3 beautiful daughters. I have 4 great grandkids, and we have one boy. One boy, my buddy, my grandson Cooper. He's 6.5, and he just started getting into collecting baseball cards
Oh, I
with
love it.
his classmates, and so I see the whole game differently through his eyes. Every year, once a year, I take my daughters and Cooper. We sit behind home plate in my buddy Steve Napolitano's seats, in the legend seats. We're on
Oh,
TV
nice
the whole
seats.
game,
Yeah.
right? And to see his eyes and see what, oh my God. And for me too, sitting that close, you realize one thing: these guys are much bigger and stronger than we ever were. They're monsters. Aaron Judge, I mean, guy's 6'7". They're much bigger and stronger than we were. But those eyes have taught me an awful lot. I kind of look back and appreciate everything that I did those years, and understanding that there's only been 23,000 Major League Baseball players in the history. You know, that's pretty good company.
It's incredible. And you had a heck of a year in 1980. You hit 277 for the season. You threw out 50. By the way, you would have gotten a batting title if that were today and you hit 277. You'd have gotten the batting title. You threw out 51.8% of the guys trying to steal against you. You were incredibly durable. You're out there almost every day, valuable offensively and defensively. What did you pride yourself on most as a catcher, Rick?
Well, I mean, the number one job for the catcher is calling the game, which they don't even do nowadays. You call the game, you've got 10, 11 different personalities that you got to deal with. My primary job was to handle the pitching staff and be an extension of the manager, because the manager can't get on the field. If you notice, the catcher's the smartest guy on the field. Everybody's looking at him. The game doesn't go until he puts down the right fingers. And
And
lots of times we didn't.
the
You know,
catchers always make the best managers.
yeah, they wanted me to manage, but that's another
Oh,
story.
okay. Yeah.
That was in 1996, but I was in the broadcast booth, and I said, Bob Watson, I said, Bull, I love you. I'm not managing. I love what I'm doing. This is the best job in baseball. Who knows? That might have been a little different if I ever took the job, but Bull really was a good friend and great guy. I mean, he taught me so much. We used to ride into the ballpark a lot.
This is Bull is who is
It's
Bull?
Bull Bob Watson, who was the general
Oh,
manager of the
yeah, I
team.
didn't know his nickname.
Yeah, Bull.
But
Bull. I
okay.
mean, he was such a great guy. Taught me so much. But 80 was special. I never duplicated it, unfortunately, because I got injuries in 81 and 82 and then became platooned with Butch Wanniger. But my time with the Yankees was special. And everybody said, well, you came back 3 times. I said, yeah, I got to live in my own house. And Steinbrenner wanted me back. And you know what? It turned out to be a nice career. But people don't realize it is hard on the families. It's baseball is great. You see the guys on the TV and you see everything, but it's a tough life. You're away from your family an awful lot. You're on the road an awful lot, living out of a suitcase. I just saw last week the Yankees had an opportunity to play in Chicago for 7 straight days.
They
Played
did.
the
They played the
Cubs and
White
the White
Sox and then
Sox.
the Cubs. Yeah.
That never happens. I mean, that was saying, man, they get to live in the hotel in Chicago, which is one of my favorite towns to begin with, for 7 straight days. Knowing the way I was, I probably would have missed a couple of those ball games back in the day. We had one thing, Kelley, we had a lot of fun playing. That's the one thing. I don't know, because of this thing right here, that cell phone. I don't know if the players have as much fun as we did and
Uh-huh.
hang out as much as we did. The game's over. There's 10 guys going to the bar, talking about the game, having fun, sharing a beer, figuring out what we did wrong tonight. How can we improve? I don't know if they can do that with all the cameras in their faces every
Right.
day. I mean, you
Right.
can't. But you know what? God bless them. I'm very happy that they make tons and tons of money. I hope they work out their issues, and I think they will. I don't think the Players Association's as strong as we were when we played. I mean, the owners are making billions, the players are making billions. I mean, I don't know. I just hope for the fans' sake that they resolve this. And I have a funny feeling the owners will get whatever they want. I just don't think the Players Association's strong anymore. That's my
And
opinion.
what do you think has changed in the association since your day? Because certainly by the time it came around to 1994, that union was legendarily strong. I mean, so I assume it was mostly the same guys when you were there.
Well, you got to start at leadership.
Don
And
Fear, Marvin
well, no,
Miller.
for us, Marvin Miller was hands down the smartest man I've ever been around. He understood. You realize in 1976, when free agency happened, the owners wanted to be everybody's free after 1 year. So in other words, you have all 600 players as free agents. There's no competitive
Oversupply.
market.
Yeah.
That would be crazy.
Yeah.
Marvin realized that you have to give the owners something. So he gave them 3 years of control, 6 years of control, 3 years, but arbitration was the thing that really hurt them. So the players really had no say for 3 years until they can go to arbitration. And our leadership was tremendous, and guys were willing, even though we didn't make a lot of money, we were willing to give up whatever we made for the benefit of everybody, not just the 1%ers, not just the guys making $50 million a year. It's really about the working class guys. And that's, unfortunately, they don't realize that. So I'm a little worried. I don't think they're going to, I think they'll give in to the owners for whatever they want, which is a salary cap they've been trying to get. And as far as I'm concerned, the biggest problem in baseball, you have the teams that pay $350 million salaries, and then you have teams that pay 80. I think there needs to be a bottom cap, more importantly than a top cap. I mean, the Dodgers, the game they're playing now by deferring all this money, it's crazy. That's a different story. I'm happy for the players. They're making lots of money. I think baseball is thriving. A lot of people are watching it, going to the games. But again, they've got major issues, and they cannot afford a strike or a loss.
No, they can't. It took them years to recover from the 94 strike.
Yeah, and thank God for steroids.
Right.
They had Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa killing home runs.
Right. And the Yankees, that great Yankees dynasty of 98 to 01.
No matter what people say, Kelley, when the Yankees and the Dodgers are involved in the playoffs, there's more excitement.
100%.
Now, you know why we got to the World Series in 81. they created a half season because of the strike.
It was a strike year, yeah.
And the reason people don't understand something, what we were dealing with the owners, we never knew that the owners had Lords of London strike insurance for 55 days. It would run out. Some teams were making more money while they were on strike.
Wow.
There weren't,
I never heard that before.
What a 55-day strike insurance.
I didn't know that.
The strike got settled, Kelley, on the 54th day.
It's a miracle.
Got everything we wanted. Yeah. No, it's a miracle that their money ran out in an insurance policy. So that just tells you what we were dealing with as player representatives. So hopefully they can work out. I love baseball. I watch it occasionally. I still root for the Yankees. I root for the Mets. I love to root for the home teams. It's an interesting game now. I mean, it's completely changed. We watch guys put on second base like Little League.
That's crazy.
You can't block the home plate. You got a timer. You can't throw off. It's crazy. It really is crazy.
I don't quite want to leave 1981 yet because
that's all the way in the back.
A team of personalities. I can't leave Graig Nettles, Reggie Jackson, Ron Guidry. I can't leave these guys on the table. You gotta throw me a. Is Graig Nettles going to be at Old Timers Day this weekend?
I did not see. I saw him last year on TV because I didn't get invited, but this year I got invited. He didn't look great. Graig Nettles was one of the funniest guys. Him and Oscar Gamble were the two funniest guys I ever played with. Ron Guidry, my buddy, I don't know where he got the power from, but he was tremendous. My best buddy on the team always was Bucky Dent. I mean, he was the chick magnet, even though he was married and I was single. I used to tell girls, I said, girls, he's married. What are you doing with him? You're wasting your time. I'm the single guy. I'm single. But we hung out. We had so many great stories. But I mean, really, when you think about it, I became pretty popular because of the 81 playoffs when I cursed George out.
Tell me about that. Well, tell the whole story. People don't know the story.
Well, yeah, the story is we won the first two games in Milwaukee. All we got to do is win 1 of 3 at home, and we lose Friday. And then Saturday, I strike out to end the game. I'm the last out. Raleigh Fingers pitched 5 innings, I think, in relief, and I wound up striking out. Mad. And Steinbrenner was already in the middle of the clubhouse. By the time I got up to the clubhouse, he's right in the middle, ranting and raving. And me being a hot-headed Italian, I couldn't keep my mouth shut. Nobody else was saying anything. So I confronted him, yelled at him, cursed at him, said, get out of the effing room. You don't belong in here. And then, nobody would have known anything about it because there was no press in there at the time. But Reggie went crazy. He says, oh, my God, Cerone cursed out the fat guy in front of everybody. Oh, my God. And, thank God for Bobby Mercer because he got in between the two of us. Nobody would have known. But then now the next day, Howard Cosell makes the big to-do. We got split screens, me and George. He sent me a telegram that was just heat of the battle. And I said, what battle are you in? We're on the field playing. We're trying to win a championship. But you know what? I think George respected me after that. And fortunately, thank God we won the game, game 5 against Milwaukee. I happened to hit a nice home run and have a couple of hits.
You happened to hit a home run.
And you know what the first question they said, Kelley? Only in New York. They said, Rick, when you hit that home run, did you feel like giving George the finger at home plate? I said, you guys are crazy. You realize I cursed out my owner? I mean, that's not a good business move. I cursed him out in front of the whole team. That's not a smart move. Only in New York would you ask me that question. But we had a bunch of great guys. They all rallied behind me. I never forget the ovation I got when they introduced me game 5 of that playoffs against Milwaukee. The people went crazy. I guess in the back of their minds, they've always wanted to confront their owners. It's just not a smart business move. And I think I learned from it, but George respected me after that. He really did.
What did George Steinbrenner know about motivating players that maybe other owners didn't know?
Well, he had a little football background at was it Williams College? I think he had a little football background. Uh, and he had that mentality. One thing you got to love about Steinbrenner was any money he made, he put back into the team. You may not agree with all the moves he made in the 80s. We won more games in the 1980s than any team in baseball, but we never got a World Series championship. Getting into the playoffs my first 2 years with the Yankees, you kind of assume you're going to be there every year because that's just the way they were.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it only happened for me again when I went to the Red Sox in 1988. And you look back, the only good thing out of COVID was I was able to watch all 6 games, which I never did before. And I always used to say we should have won in 4 straight. We did this. We were a much better team. But they got breaks, but they outplayed us. We made too many mistakes. Too many crazy things went on in that World Series. And unfortunately, I never got back to another one.
Graig Nettles wasn't known for backing down from a fight.
Oh, you want to know about that? I know the story in Oakland. I mean, come on. You can't make this stuff up, guys. You can't make it up. Kelley, we win. We sweep Oakland 3 straight.
You got to start it from the beginning for our listeners. State the time and place.
Well, let's say 1981 again.
Thank you.
I mean, we had drama in the first series against Milwaukee with me and Steinbrenner. Now we got to play Billy Martin and the Oakland A's in the American League Championship. We sweep them. I mean, they couldn't play with us. And you know what? They were a young team, a lot of talent, but they couldn't play with the veterans that we had on that team. So we win 3 straight. We win in Oakland. Well, it's a team celebration. We're celebrating going to the World Series, and Nettles and Reggie Jackson get into a fight at the team celebration at this big place that Steinbrenner had rented. We're all celebrating. And then what happened was, it was over a family where they were sitting, something stupid. But Reggie and Nettles always had a little edge to them. Remember, we just won Game 3. We're going to the World Series. And all of a sudden, Reggie said, well, what are you going to do about it? He went with his hands like this. Nettles had a beer in his hand. Reggie's hands hit the beer hit the floor, and so did Reggie. Nettles popped them. Bang. And next thing you know, guys are trying to break up our 2 stars. And who's in the middle of it is Steinbrenner, is on the floor rolling around. I mean, can you imagine if that was today? Well, first of all, you'd have 9,000 different cameras like this. Look, all videotaped. It would be the greatest story in the history of the game. But nobody really knew about it except the players. Well, and then the World Series, we start the World Series against the Dodgers. We should have swept them, but we didn't. They came back. They kept coming back. They won 3 one-run games in Dodger Stadium. But my highlight of that thing was I got to give Frank Sinatra's grandkids a couple of baseballs, and we became friends for life after that. He wrote me a letter. I got it in my scrapbook. His kids were sitting right behind the Yankee dugout, and there's Frank Sinatra. Being Italian, you know what Frank is like in our family.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and I see him with Nancy and his other daughter, and I gave him baseballs. Oh, my God, he went crazy. I said, maybe I can make you a Yankee fan, even though he was like this with Lasorda. And we became friends and dear friends. I really, oh, my God, what a career he had. But and then watching, I told you I watched on the COVID, I watched the games. Well, Game 3 against Fernando Valenzuela, I hit 2 home runs in one game. Unfortunately, they didn't have like 12 different umpires and cameras everywhere. The first one hit the guy in the first row at Dodger Stadium in the chest, and it bounces on the field, which is a home run.
They called it a ground rule double?
They called it a double. Oh. They said it hit the fence. So then the next time I got Fernando Valenzuela, I hit him over the left field both bleachers. So I should have had 2, which would have been a great thing. But you know what? Home run in the World Series is pretty nice.
What happened with Graig Nettles and the Yankees, and is he ever coming back?
Well, he came back last year to Old Timers. He had a falling out. I don't know how you get picked for the Old Timers game, but there's certain favorites that come back every year. I mean, that's great. I really am so excited about going back and being on the field in my number 10 uniform Saturday. More importantly, for my 2 grandkids 2 out of my 4 grandkids will be there. so they'll get to see Poppy on the field. And I told you, see this? I don't know. It's not real dark like it used to be, and the hair is not as black and curly as it used to be. But I grew this. I started 10 days ago. I've got 3 more days to get this right. People expect me to have the mustache, and I think probably right after the game, Kelley, I'll shave it off. Once it gets all gray and stuff like that, it doesn't look the same.
It's just fantastic. And all my viewers on YouTube are going to see this mustache that Rick has growing in. But if
It's
you're
coming.
listening on Apple or Spotify, let me tell you, it looks good. It's vintage Rick. You're going to love it when you see it on Saturday.
It's coming back. We all had the mustaches. We weren't allowed to have beards, which I don't think the Yankees should have beards. I mean, that's my opinion. Come on.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that. A mustache is fine. They had a thing was it 2 years ago? Austin Wells had a nice stash. He has a nice stash. And they put my picture up there. And then they put Thurman Munson's picture up there. And I said, yeah, that was the style. Everybody, we all thought we were porn stars back in the day with the dark hair, the mustaches. And you know what? We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun playing.
It's with the way the young guys, it's the style again now. They all have those 70s mustaches again.
Yeah,
I kind
but I
of
don't
like
like
it.
the beat. Yeah, you like the mustache. I just don't like
the
Yankees, their tradition, their history, having beards and long hair. I mean, that's just me. I'm old school, but I do enjoy watching them. They got some nice talent. They got some good players. I don't know if they're really built to win a World Series. You can't strike out 15 times a game and expect to win a World Series. That never happened. I think they went through a stretch this year. They struck out 37 times in 2 days. You got to be able to put the ball in play, especially when against good pitching. You got to be able to get on base. I mean, bunt, do all the little things, and make contact. Until they find contact hitters again, they're not going to win. They've won 1 World Series in 25 years. 1. Would Steinbrenner, if he was alive, would he be allowing that? There'd be changes all the time.
He'd be like the Dodgers, going out and getting Scooble.
Yeah, oh my God, stop with the Dodgers. I know that, you know what? They've got a well-run team, organization, unlimited money. But the deferment payments that they're doing now with billions and billions of dollars being paid out in the future, I mean, I don't agree with that at all. Not even in a little. Now, I know Ohtani, he must be a really smart guy. He's deferring $68 million every year of his contract so he doesn't have to pay 17% state tax. He's a genius. He can live after he gets this money deferred payment, live in Florida, live in Japan, no taxes.
He won't be paying California tax. I'd bet my bottom dollar on it.
Yeah,
maybe they'll change the tax laws to try to get him.
Somehow they'll figure it out, our government. But as you can tell, I'm Kelley, you smile all the time. I like that. I guess the stories are pretty good for you. You like that too. And I tell everybody, Kelley, most important thing is to smile and laugh every day. And that's the best advice you can give people. Enjoy life. Live like you don't know when the next day is, because we really don't. We don't know the end date. How long are we going to live? And you know what? Don't regret not doing things before you pass. Enjoy yourself. It's all about having fun.
Ain't that the truth? And goodness gracious, you're going to have some fun on Saturday. Who are you most looking forward to seeing at Old Timers Day?
You know, the funniest thing that you miss when you retire are the bus rides and the plane rides, where guys, the plane and the buses are funny situation. The plane especially. You had the coaches and the manager up in the front in the first class. You had the Bible readers at the second, next. Then you had the card players in the middle. And then you had the degenerates at the end of the back of the plane. And for 18 years, I was always in the back of the plane. Always. And you know what? For many years, I was the last seat. That's the guy that controls the music. Now, the Mets, I had to culture them a little bit. That was my next year playing, year 17. I took over the back of the plane, but I educated them with a little Sinatra, a little Springsteen, a little Bon Jovi. They were listening to this heavy stuff like headbanging music. But we cultured, and I tell you, we had more fun with them. Johnny Franco's still one of my best friends. So many good memories you have. It's just been a lifetime of experiences that I enjoyed.
That sounds amazing. Gosh, Rick, you're one of these guys that if I could, I would keep you on for a 3-hour show, but I know time is precious. And I am so grateful that you've spent this time here with me today.
Kelley, is there anything else? I mean, like I told you, I'm an open book. Any
Let
other
me.
question, real quick, if you got
Oh,
it,
all right.
fire
I got
away.
two more questions.
Go ahead.
One is just 2 words. Billy Martin. Go.
Great manager. The alcohol took him over, unfortunately, and he died that way. But he was very difficult on catchers. Anytime they got a hit, it was you made the wrong call. And I'm Italian. You don't do that. He's Italian. We fought a lot, and he got rid of me a couple of times. But I respected him as a manager. We practiced things that other teams didn't practice to win that day. And I really appreciate him as a manager and an X and O's guy. But I had a tough time with his personality.
I can see that. That's from what I saw as a fan, that picture makes a lot of sense. Hearing it from someone who's telling it from the inside, who would know.
Kelley, I threw my shin guards at him one day in the dugout because it's not my fault. If the pitcher locates the pitch the right spot, they don't get a hit. That's how I always called the game. If a pitcher threw the pitch exactly where you want it for 9 innings, there'd be a perfect game every day. I bet hitters make their living on mistakes. So to say that it was a bad call, I called the wrong pitch, and I found out later on it was always, if it was a fastball, it was the wrong pitch. If it was a curveball or a spitter or a forkball, let's call it a forkball. Yeah, spitter. If it was a spitter, it was the right pitch. I kind of learned that way. My pitchers protected me a little bit with Billy and Graig Nettles as well. He used to say, just keep your mouth shut. I have a hard time doing that. And I've proved that in the past. But Billy, like I said, I respected him as a manager.
So, Rick, we close every show here at the 3-Inning Fan with the other great thing in life besides baseball, which is food. Okay, so we like to know what you like to eat while you're watching the ball game. It can be while you're at the ballpark or if you're sitting at home on your couch with nobody bothering you. But Rick Cerone, what's good to eat while watching the ball game?
Well, I prefer the good stuff after the game. Go to Frankie and Johnny's Pine Tavern in the Bronx or Dominic's in Arthur Avenue, nice Italian food. But during a game, I do have a weakness. I got to be honest. Now, I'm not at a game. You mentioned on the couch watching the Yankees in my recliner. I love a little ice cream. I got to have a little ice cream. I just like it. But at a ballpark, is there anything better than a ballpark, Frank? I mean, a hot dog. I mean, that's just what you think about. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. But give me the after meal at Dominic's and Arthur Avenue. I mean, come on, it's the best.
That sounds amazing. Rick, you have been an incredible guest, and I just want to thank you so much for being with me today.
This is easy. You made it fun, Kelley, and I'm glad you got that nice big smile. Keep doing what you're doing. You got Johnny Franco's last name there. I mean, come on, how bad can you be? But thanks so much for having me on.
All right, you don't go anywhere. I'm going to say goodbye to my fans. You stay there, and I'll say goodbye to you personally. Viewers, thank you so much for joining me and Rick today. It has been a great show, and I hope I'll catch you again next time. Bye-bye.